should get 20 plus games. Probably might get 3 to 5 if the George Peros Toronto Maple Leaf factor comes in. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Coach's Call. I'm your host, Guido Perino, and happy to have you here. If you haven't subscribed, love to have you along for the ride as we like to have some fun and I like to have the company. So please take a moment and do that if you haven't already. So what am I going to talk about? I wonder, right? So you just watched the clip there where the last show I said Morgan Rielly's going to get 3 to 5 games. And sure enough, he got 5 games, right? He got 5 games. Now, before I get further into that and what all of that means, there's something I want to address because I played the clip for a reason. Look, there's a lot of comments on the last video clip, and there's a lot of folks, doing childish things and calling childish names. But there's the one comment that probably bothered me the most, and that's this. When people say, obviously, you have never played hockey to make that assessment that you think Rielly should be suspended, that this should not be part of the game. You've never played hockey, or else you'd have a different opinion. Right. I need to have played hockey in order to know that taking a stick to someone's face is wrong, or that you shouldn't do it, or that it shouldn't be part of the game. Right. I would have had to have played hockey to have a different opinion than that. I would have had to play hockey to know that if I did that, there's a consequence and you're going to get suspended. Right. Yeah, I don't think so. And whether I played or hockey or not is irrelevant. And yes, I've played. Yes, I've played organized. Yes, I've played pickup. Yes, I've coached hockey. All of that is irrelevant. I didn't need to do any of that to know that what happened was wrong. Okay. And when you talk about playing hockey, you talk about grassroots up in Sault Ste. Marie, Phil Esposito Park in the 80s, right? We would walk to the rink. Sometimes you could skate to the rink from our houses because the roads would get so frozen over. You could put your skates on at home, skate there, and then skate back. But we would go there and we would play pickup hockey. And there were some rough dudes. And we'd have all sorts of ages on that ice. It was a big rink, all sorts of ages. And for all the crazy stuff that would go on there, all the competitiveness and all the emotion and all the different characters, you know what never happened? Nobody ever took their stick and hit somebody in the face with it. With all the code, even back then, we all knew no matter what happened, we didn't take a stick to anybody's face. All right. I'm going to leave that there. I want to get over to the 5 game suspension and Morgan Rielly. And I said he was going to get 3 to 5. He got 5. I was hoping he was going to get 21. And I know this is where some of the folks say, well, you're crazy, 21. Look, back when Hunter checked, Turgeon into the face with his stick, after scoring a goal, he got 21 games. That was back in the 90s. All right. The game now, I would figure if you're trying to get that all out of the game, the suspension should be at least that or worse. 5 seconds left in the game. It's a non-hockey play, and all George Peros and safety, player safety for the NHL could come up with is 5 games. Huh. And then the Toronto Maple Leafs are gonna say, and some of the fans, oh, we're the most penalized team when it comes to suspensions. We're the most penalized team. Come on, you got 5 games. You put a stick in somebody's face after the game. You hunted the guy down after he scored a goal. Who cares how he scored the goal? Still doesn't matter how he scored the goal. Okay. We have some great parodies out there where you see people sort of, making fun of it now, right? Going up there, and there's actually a clip. I think it was the Washington Capitals or there's a clip where the guy stands right by the net, waves to the player coming by and then taps it in. Is that better? Did that guy score the goal the wrong way too? I've watched over the last couple of days some real interesting things happen out there. We've had player vignettes hosted by TSN, the Toronto Sports, the Sports Network. Sorry, it's become habit of saying the Toronto Sports Network, right? They've hosted players. You've had Ryan Reeves of all people on there saying, "Oh yeah, no, it was good." Sheldon Keefe, it was appropriate. It was appropriate to hit somebody in the face with the stick. It was an appropriate response. No, it wasn't, Sheldon. Ryan Reeves. No, it wasn't. It was not appropriate, Ryan Reeves. In fact, Ryan Reeves said this: "It's unfortunate that a kid like that can get away with something like that, and one of our best players is going to get suspended." You know, Ryan, why one of your best players is going to get suspended? He got suspended because he hit somebody in the face with a stick. It wasn't Ridley's fault, right? It wasn't. It wasn't Greg's fault, you know. But it doesn't stop there, right? It doesn't stop there. We saw Austin Matthews speak out. And the thing that really bothered me is we had sports networks advocating, talking about ways that the Leafs could help get this reduced, right? The same networks, right, that are broadcasting these things, the same folks we saw say, "Oh, you know what? It's really Greg's fault." No, it's not Greg's fault. No, no, it's not. And the fact that we've got these and we know why. We know why. You know one thing that I don't have that they have, the TSN and Sportsnet has. Um, I'm not owned. I'm not owned by the Toronto Maple Leafs. Um, I'm not beholden to MLSE in any kind of way. I don't have a TV contract where I have to broadcast their games. And you know what? I can actually express my opinion without fear of reprisal from the networks or the organization that owns me, right? And maybe that's why we see some of that from TSN, and maybe that's why we see some of that from Sportsnet. But both of those organizations and other ones, there's other ones online too. There's broadcasters, there's announcers, there's guys. They've sold out. They've sold out and said, "Oh, yeah, he's a Mo's a good guy. He's never done anything wrong, and we should take all of this into consideration." I get it. I get it. And if it was an in-game play, I might be inclined to kind of go along with that. Look, it kind of happened in game. It's a little bit different. This didn't happen in game. The other guy scored. Morgan Rielly goes after him, puts lumber in his face. And even like there's even like in the player explanation for it, there's even some explanation of how this happened, right? This is not the case of two players mutually jousting where both players could reasonably expect escalating contact for both players' sticks to come up high, right? Like this is also not an inadvertent or accidental use of the stick. They're saying all the right things. They know that it's not right. Rielly, listen to this. It says here, this is from NHL player safety, right? Rielly pursues Greig for some time and has sufficient opportunity to engage him in a different manner or ensure the cross check is delivered solely to the body. In short, they go on to say, this is not a hockey play. This is an intentional, forceful strike to an opponent's head using a stick as a weapon to extract retribution well after a goal has been scored. 5 games. 5 games. After you say, yeah, he used his stick as a weapon, put it in his face, he pursued him, he had time to do something different, that's worth 5 games. And you know what that means? That means that the 5 games and the measly $195,312 that Rielly's going to forfeit is nothing. Is nothing. There's no player that's going to think twice to not protect the code for 5 games and just under $200,000 when they're making that kind of coin. They're not. You're going to see this again. And I don't know what would be different in the next punishment for the next player, because it's all laid out here. And if I'm one of those coaches or one of the broadcasters or sports network that's trying to help the player, man, this is precedent setting. It says here, it's okay. If you've pursued the guy after a play, if you've used your stick as a weapon, if you've had a ample opportunity to make a decision that's different other than putting lumber in the guy's face, if you've done all those things and that's the situation, you're going to get 5 games. Congratulations. That's NHL player safety. Man, is that named wrong? Is that named wrong? And if you're a player, look, and I know there's been players, and the arguments have been coming. Well, Giroux kind of didn't defend him either, right? He didn't defend him either. Well, Giroux's wrong. Giroux should have defended his player, and these players should be defending each other, because someday it's going to happen to one of their, it'll happen in a different way where they're the attacker, and the other team's going to come back at the same way. It's not right. They shouldn't be doing that. They shouldn't be defending that. Nothing will change with this type of suspension. Nothing will change. You're still going to have a Leaf. There's a portion of the Leaf fan base that's going to be upset that he even got 5. I think ODog, that was the other one. ODog on TSN. It should be 2 games. Come on. Come on, O'Neill. You know it's not 2 games. Look, if the NHL players safety, if they all wanted to make a difference, if they want to stop this from happening, if they want to stop aggressive behavior and use of weapons, they slap a 20 or more game suspension the first time. They increase it the second time to double. The third time it's a season. Okay. The fourth time you're done. Maybe that's not the perfect formula, but 5 games isn't. The NHL, you guys got it wrong. This is going to keep happening. It's disappointing to see what this is. I mean, look at Brendan Gallagher got 6 for an in-game play. Why? Brendan Gallagher's on the name of on the back of the jersey, and that's in that situation, and that didn't even make sense because it was in-game play. NHL player safety, you got this all wrong. You're a mess. You're a mess and a joke. Nobody takes you seriously. That's why everybody's lobbying you. That's where they're bringing all these examples. That's why you got networks and sports networks lobbying you. You got coaches lobbying you. It's a joke. NHL, fix it. That's the coach's call. Thank you for joining me. If you enjoyed it, please subscribe. If you didn't, please subscribe anyways and leave your comments. Disagree with me, but disagree with me in a way that we can have a fruitful conversation. Thanks for being here. Take care, folks.